Welcome to our hip mobilization and strengthening. This will take about 24 minutes. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to need a couple props, a big ball, a light weight, and a yoga block if you want it, but you don't necessarily need it. We're going to start with some abdominal approximation, sitting up nice and tall, thinking about lengthening through our spine as we inhale through our nose, exhaling through our mouth, lightly press in with those hands, zipping up the pelvic floor, pressing in, and then wrapping our fingers forward to encourage that closing of the transverse or the deep abdominal structure as you exhale. And again, you're going to inhale, fully release. And again, exhale, pressing in with your hands. Sorry about that. Exhale, pulling up that pelvic floor, pressing in. Now for women, it feels like you're lifting up through the vaginal canal, like you're picking up some blueberries. For men, it's going to feel kind of like you're jumping into cold water. We're going to take a nice big inhale, totally release. Exhale, pressing in, pulling up through that pelvic floor, gently approximating that core. And we're going to do that one more time. Don't worry, we'll revisit this again. Exhale, pressing in, finding that strong abdominal engagement, keeping the pelvic floor really engaged. Okay, let's see if we can get Elliot to go sit in his bed for the lesson today. Alrighty, sorry about that. Here we go. All right, so we're just going to start by sitting up nice and tall, not dumping our weight back, but light fingertips so we're not collapsing. As we start with that rotation of the hip, you're going to see it kind of moves all the way through that my kind of into my lumbar even, or low back. 3, and again, 4. Just breathing through this mobilization. I just think this feels lush on the hips. Now, we're going to start to add a little bit more work for internal to external rotation. So we're going to have a little bit of weight on our front hand. We're going to find that same engagement. That's still abdominal approximation, moving from our hip. We're going to exhale, externally rotate and lift, keeping that pelvic floor engagement as you lift for 2. And again for 3. And 4. Feeling that gorgeous movement. And 5. Little hold at the apex each time, so there's no momentum. And 6. Hold it right there. We're going to add that little 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it down. Now we're going to move into medial rotation. You can kind of open up that angle and even bring the knee a little bit more forward. You don't want too much movement in the pelvis, but you are going to find a little bit of it. And if you're really struggling with this, you can do more movement in the pelvis and or assist with your right arm to your right ankle, which is the leg for me that is lifting. This one can be really difficult, but is super important for hip and pelvic floor health. We're going to hold it for 6, 5, 4, 3, finding that internal movement, 1, and bring that leg all the way around. Now I'm going to fold those knees on top of each other, kind of lengthening through the spine so that I am not collapsing or rounding. I can lean forward, but I want that stretch to stay in my hip, and I don't want to keep that kind of roundy, collapsy feeling. I want to have a nice, beautiful, long neck. Just breathing gently. Let's go ahead and stack it up. Now you can twist in towards your knee. Now if you are prenatal or pregnant, you want to rotate, opening that up, not creating that twist. It can be a little bit hard on the femoral artery sometimes. Just breathing gently. You can also just keep the knees crossed and not lift the top leg and create any rotation either direction. Just holding that first stretch a little longer. Now let's go ahead and switch that to the other side, little mermaid tail. And then you're going to slide that leg open to the zigzag, hand is in front. Again, connecting all the way through the pelvis so we're not collapsing, we're staying nice and strong. Heel is nice and grounded as you inhale here, creating not too much movement in the pelvis. We're going to lift that knee for 6. And 5. And 4. And 3. And 2, and 1, and we're gonna have that hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing it down now for the fun one. Flex that bottom foot, internal rotation, lifting from that heel. And again, you can always use your hand or a little bit more pelvis if you need to, too. But it's really about finding that internal mobilization and strength in that hip for 3, 4, and 5. and 6. Hold again for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just float that down, swinging that back leg all the way around. Nice little reach forward. Again, you can always lengthen forward, and you feel like you're really collapsing and having a hard time, you can take that big ball or a chair and pop it in front of you. You can also, if you're like very mobile, you can collapse and round all the way forward. But I really like to keep my spine long because it keeps the stretch a bit more in the hip as I breathe and lengthen forward, just finding that nice, gorgeous stretch. Nice. Now again, you can find that twist open if you're prenatal. You can stay in the previous exercise with the knees folded, or you can twist in, whichever feels right, but make sure you're not collapsing. You're staying tall and long as we breathe. Two. And 1. Very nice. Just taking that nice big inhale and exhale. Starting to untwist, and let's slide that leg out of the way. Now, for this next exercise, I'm going to grab a yoga block. Now, if you don't have a yoga block, you can always grab a cushion or a pillow or a rolled up towel, but you want to place it on the floor, thread that bottom leg through, and we're going to again work on that medial rotation. I'm going to do 4 of these, but if you want to do 6 to 8, that's fine. You can always pause. Engage the core, floating those ribs as you inhale, rotate open, exhale, squeezing it closed. Inhale, rotate open, exhale, squeezing it closed. And 3, and squeezing it in. 1 more time for 4, and squeezing it in. Now I'm going to float that hand down, keeping that nice rib connection. I'm going to find internal rotation. I'm going to move as little as I can through the waist, but it's almost impossible. Here we are for 3. 1 more time, and we're going to lift and hold it for 4. External rotation with the top knee, a little add-on. And again, 2. And again for 3. 1 more time for 4. External rotation into medial rotation or internal rotation. And again, in towards that midline 2. So you're finding that range of motion much like we did earlier when we were in the kind of zigzag. And 3. 1 more time for 4. And extend that bottom leg, popping that leg behind you as you lift for it up. And we're going to do 6 of these. 2. And 3. Getting that nice little kegel. And 4. And 5. And 6, lift and hold, pointing that toe, holding, reaching through the toe, circles for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, lift and hold, and let's reverse it for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and lift, and release. Floating that leg behind you, opening up the hip flexor and quad. I'm going to roll back, and it's not always comfortable to have that pillow underneath you, so you can move it out of the way as you take that stretch all the way down, releasing from the ribs all the way down through the hip flexors and quads. Just breathing gently. Roll back to that side. You can use that top leg and hand to kind of move together. Oops, I ended up just kicking the ball, but you can extend that leg if you want. As you switch to the other side, let's go ahead and move that down. And again, we're going to thread that bottom arm through, and we're going to come to laying on our sides, pulling those ribs in, keeping that nice connection as we do heels, hips, shoulders, head into alignment. Inhale, rotate, open. Exhale, drawing those abs in, abdominal approximation for 2. And squeeze it in. And 3. And squeeze it in. And 4. And squeeze it in, moving into that nice strong engagement, but moving into medial rotation or internal rotation of the legs. And 2. And again for 3. 1 more time, and we're going to hold it for 4 and find external rotation, stabilizing that top hip. You can squeeze that glute a little bit intensely too, and use those abs to create that stability. 3. 1 more time for 4. We're going to add medial rotation of the top leg, bringing it down, tapping it behind you, lifting through that heel. Tap the toe. 2, and tap the toe. And 3, and tap the toe. 1 more time, and 4. And tap the toe. Hold, top that leg behind you, extend the bottom leg, flexing, pulling those abs in, making sure you're not sickling the bottom foot, but it's staying nice and parallel as we lift for 2. And 3. And 4. 2 more for me for 5. and 6. Hold 6. 5, 4, 3, stabilizing 2, and 1, and go ahead and reach for those toes and circle. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to very gently reverse it for 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Little hold, and we get to float it back and down. Again, bringing that top leg behind you, bringing the foot and the knee towards the floor, opening up through the hip flexor and quad. Let's move that yoga block out of the way. Whoop, watching out for the balls. We take that nice big reach overhead. I love this moment. It just always feels so luxurious through my body, especially if you're prenatal and you're, especially in the second or third trimester. This release feels amazing. Top hand, top leg, helping you up to come on up. Now let's go ahead and move everything out of the way, but we are actually going to need that ball. So let's get the yoga block out of the way, and we're going to grab the ball and bring it to the middle. We're going to be sitting on it. I've made my space. I'm going to be sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to revisit that pelvic floor engagement. Let's bring our feet nice and wide once again, keeping that nice connection. You can draw the flesh out from underneath your sit bones, grounding them down and into the floor. You're going to inhale here, sitting up nice and tall, pulling that pelvic floor in. Again, remember, it's like jumping into cold water from in and pulling up like little blueberries inside of you. Again, pressing in and wrapping those fingers forward for finding a deep abdominal approximation, closing the transverse while we lift up as we exhale. Here we go. Let's give this all a try. And again, inhale through your nose. Exhale, finding that Kegel, pulling up and in, almost releasing the inside of the SI joint as you press those hands in towards each other. And then you're going to take a nice big inhale to release. And again, exhale. You want to fully release when you exhale. When you inhale, fully bring it up to an 80% engagement, 60 to 80% as you exhale. Inhale, release. Exhale, pressing in, finding that deep abdominal connection. And again, inhale, back it off. One more time, here we go. Exhale, pressing it in, finding that engagement, relaxing through the collarbones, keeping that nice strong core, and release. Let's bring our feet a little bit wider, and we're going to just start with some nice, without collapsing, we're lifting through the abs, and we're lengthening through the spine. So as I create that connection, it's going to be, you're using your obliques, and we're going to start to the left and back, and to the right, and then lift through the spine. And again, for 2. So I'm mobilizing. 3. Beautiful. 4. This just feels lush. And 5. And again, 4, 6. Here we go. And now we're going to reverse it the other way. Again, finding the right obliques. Lengthen. And left obliques and center, and again, so you're finding that lift. And you can make these as big or as small as feel appropriate for you. Finding that beautiful range of motion. Inhale. All right, so here we are. I'm going to turn, which means I need to bring my butt a little bit more forward, so I'm kind of more on my back leg, and I'm really tucking that tailbone under, finding that connection, opening up through that quad. Now I can have both hands on my hips as I open this up, or one hand on the ball, and I'm going to feel like I'm squeezing in against that ball. And 2, activating that inner thigh. And 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. Now I'm going to hold it nice and firm, drawing those abs in. I'm going to add a little pulse with my legs. And again, down to go up for 2. And again for 3. Still pressing in with my front leg. 4. This should feel really good. Let's do one more. Hold it. Bring it up. Now hold it. We're going to keep that nice connection. If you want to use both hands on your hip, you're going to find that little bit of burn. Here we go. 2, 1, sitting down. You're going to reach that arm that's further from me onto the ball, reaching up and over, either taking the hand overhead, or you can take that hand to your shoulder, but you want to look down so you have that nice release through your neck. And let's go ahead and let's switch us over to the other side. Again, whoop, squaring those hips, tucking that tailbone under. Here we go. Keeping everything nice and square. And again, we're going to start with that pressing in. Activating the inner thigh, keeping the pelvis really square. 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Pressing it in, holding it in, opening up that hip flexor as we add that nice connection, keeping those hips really square. Go a little deeper, and then we're going to go down, and we're going to go up, keeping that nice and square. 2, 3. Making that you're really working through the legs. And again, 4, 6. And hold. Pressing in with that front leg. And 1, bringing it down, reaching up and over, getting that nice big stretch to the side. 5 and 6. Woo! Let's roll back to the center, and we're going to very gently come on up to standing. I'm going to roll that ball out in front of me, bringing my legs really nice and wide, nice and parallel. I'll turn on the angle so it's a little bit easier, but sometimes it's easier to tell that you're parallel if you're going straight on, so you can see that your feet are equal distance apart. I'm connecting from my pinky finger down to my lat without hyperextension, so my elbows stay kind of soft and round. I'm going to find that same abdominal approximation. I'm going to keep everything nice and square. As you see me press down, I feel like I'm lifting and approximating that core. And again, pressing down, pulling everything nice and tight. And again, exhale, press. And again for 3. And again for 4. Hold. 5. And now we're going to start to roll it forward. Again, I'm not collapsing. I'm pressing down to find that thoracic extension or upper back extension. And press down as you come back and up, connecting through that core. And again, for 3, nice and stable. And 4, inhale. And 5, drawing that in, activate, exhale, inhale, extend, beautiful big reach. Now I'm going to turn on the diagonal. You guys can stay where you are, but I want you to keep that nice connection, again, connecting all the way through as we kind of speed skater. You feel a little bit of a stretch in the groin, and I don't want to come up, but I want to stay very low, like I'm trying to keep my pelvis at the same level the whole time. I love this one. It just feels so nice. I'm going to go nice and deep, extend through that legs as I move into my full stretch. Now you can always bend your knees. You can keep that nice connection, but you just want to keep that nice big stretch to the back of the body. I'm going to kind of shift over to the right, feeling that nice big stretch. Yum. Kind of lengthen through that leg. If you can stretch over to the left, feeling that nice big stretch, and gently coming all the way back and up. Now I'm coming back to the ball. All right, I'm going to be sitting on it, and I've got my weight. I'm going to come to a nice square position. Now, if you don't want to use the ball, because it is hard, you can always put your chair on a block or a chair. You can use your leg on a block or a chair. I'm going to tuck my tailbone under, press down with my arm as I kind of find that asymmetrical movement, rolling the ball. And again, 3, bringing it in, pressing down through that floor. 4, bringing it in. 2 more. Press down with my leg. Now I'm going to hold this last one. I'm going to add a little bit of a extra spice. I'm going to pull back and up. I'm going to keep that nice connection. I'm going to bring it down, stabilizing, press it back, and shoot, pulling it in. And 3, and 4, keeping that square. 5, and 6, pulling it in, and very gently recover. And I'm going to very gently stay pushing down, release, and then without letting the ball run away, I'm going to switch over to the other side. Again, squaring everything up, keeping that nice connection, switching my weight, draw my abs in, pressing down with the knee as I come down into that lunge and push down to recover. And you can always put your leg that's up either on a yoga block or on a chair, especially if the ball feels a little unsteady. It is challenging. Pushing down as you come back and up. And again. And keeping that nice and connected. As I exhale, press down to recover. And if you want to do 4 of these, you can do 4. If you want to do 6 of these, you can do 6. If you want to do 8 of these, you can do 8. But take this slow and at your own speed. Here we go. As we move into our last little bit of spice, draw those abs in, pulling the shoulder. Exhale. It's always good to find a nice focus point, especially at this 4, 5, 6, 2 more for 7 and 8. We're going to pull those abs in. Nice. Bringing it down. Hold, 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 and pulling back and up. Let's release that ball. Get that weight and that ball out of the way. Grab your yoga block, and we're going to move again into some nice stretching. So I've got my yoga block. Here we are. We are on the floor. I'm going to come to that nice straddle. I'm going to have my outside leg tucked in and my arms are out nice and long. I'll pull myself on the diagonal so you can see this, not collapsing, lengthening spine, reaching forward, taking that gorgeous stretch. Just breathing gently, finding that beautiful release, not collapsing, lengthening through the spine. Go ahead and come on up. Place your opposite hand to your shoulder. That helps keep the shoulders nice and square as you reach up and over, bringing the focus down. And you can always take that top arm to your shoulder if reaching it long is just too much. Just finding a nice, slow, gentle breath. Gently recover, and let's switch you to the other side. Now I can move forward so you can kind of see this again. Again, lengthening my spine as I come forward, taking that stretch, not rounding through the spine or dumping down, but keeping that nice connection, reaching up nice and tall. Again, keeping the kneecap of the long leg towards the ceiling. Just breathing gently. Oh, here comes Elliot. Go ahead and walk in, opposite hand to foot. You can always place that hand on the shoulder, but you can reach up and over, looking down, taking that nice big stretch. It kind of looks like I'm patting Elliot's butt, but I'm not. He's just hanging out. Let's go ahead and recover that back and up. And we're going to bring our leg nice and long, and our leg can come across to a figure 4. Now, if this is too much, you can always place that leg onto the floor instead of over the knee, but either way, you want that foot flexed, and you're not collapsing. You're staying nice and long as you reach forward into that stretch. Let's not collapse, but stay nice and tall, and reach forward. Opening up through the hip, no pressure on the knee, but you can kind of use your elbow to kind of rotate through that thigh, getting a little bit more external rotation. Just breathing gently. Let's go ahead and bring that up. Let's bring that knee in. Actually, you know what might be kind of fun? Let's go ahead and hop that leg in, finding still a lot of external rotation with this front leg and flexing that foot still as I rock side to side, massaging out those attachments, breathing gently. Just enjoying the weather. You can start to find more of a diaphragmatic breath instead of a more three-dimensional breath that we use in Pilates. That will cue the parasympathetic nervous system and will feel really nice. Let's go ahead and come again to that figure 4. You can take your yoga block forward, pressing open. Now, if this is too much, again, you don't want to collapse. You can very gently place your foot on the floor, externally rotating that leg instead of on the thigh bone. As I breathe and find that little bit of extra pressure from my elbow onto my thigh bone, feeling that gorgeous stretch, lengthening my spine. It should feel really nice. I love this. Just finding a little lush moment for yourself. Alrighty, let's bring those fingertips again behind you, getting that nice figure 4, bringing the leg in, making sure that knee's not collapsing in towards you, but it's still externally rotating out as you kind of massage through those hips and into the SI joint. Just breathing gently. Just rocking side to side. Just take a moment sitting up nice and tall, sliding that leg out, and just come to a position that feels good to you, sitting up nice and tall, stacking that spine, sitting up nice and lengthening up. Nice big inhale, nice big exhale. And let's just roll those shoulders, hoping you feel nice and strong and mobilized. I hope you feel good and hope to see you again. You can always come and check me out at helenawellness.com. See you soon.